Hey now, it's Sharon and I'm back to share another idea on how to reform the police. If you're new to the channel, I'm a detective, a retired detective. I worked for 20 years for a southeastern city in the US, and I was also in the military. I share my experiences along with my perspective in hopes of sharing ideas on how to reform the police. I've been talking about or narrowing down my discussion to the individual, the career officer, or someone just coming into policing. So I'm sharing some other ideas on the individual coming into policing and some of the things that they need to think about before they get into policing. I'm going to share, somebody asked me mentally and spiritually as a police officer, how was my mental and spiritual walk, if you will? And I have to say, mentally, I thought I was tough. The first 3-4 years, I walked the beat. I ran in, as they say, ran in guns with the best of them. I was on 2 different entry teams as the shield person. So I thought I was tough mentally and physically. I was in shape, I was in shape. 40 pounds lighter than I am now. And just well off in my mind, mentally. Spiritually, there was a disconnect. I have to admit it. It was the best way to describe it was a disconnect, and I didn't have peace because it started with policing the homeless and pushing them out of a park. That's when I really had to step back and, okay, where are they gonna go? And then I was sent out to police the homeless again with, anything from drinking in public to urinating in public. And I remember one time I'm driving, I stop at the stoplight, I look over and there's a homeless woman. She walked up and started peeing on the sidewalk. And I looked at her and I'm like, where's she gonna go? If I get it, the whole idea of peeing on the sidewalk. Of course, when I got out, you could tell something mentally was going on with her. But I thought to myself, where are they gonna go? Some people might disagree with that, and that's fine. But with policing behaviors and trying to legislate faith, that's what I thought. And so it didn't give me peace when we were basically harassing the homeless. And then you hear other people talk about other issues in their cities, about the immigrants coming in and taking stuff from them. I used to think the jobs that you don't want to do, you're upset that somebody else is coming to do them. That's a whole nother discussion. But those were my thoughts. And I started to think, how can I have peace in this job? And then when I went through whistleblowing the second time and just the mental aspect of it, always looking over my shoulder, making sure I wasn't going to be hurt in any kind of way, or so I thought, because that's what it felt like. You're just alone, and people tend to not want to be seen with you because you're the snitch, and that does something to you mentally. But spiritually, it was like a heavy weight. I had started to get into reading and studying for myself and the Bible and the Apocrypha, because remember, they said, don't read that. Of course I'm going to read it. And then reading other books outside of the Bible and referencing things. And spiritually, I didn't have peace. And that's something I value past the age of 50 now. I value peace more than anything else. So I was looking for peace during my policing career. We were always going to the poor neighborhoods, kicking in doors. And of course, we did find drugs and stuff like that. But it wasn't working to me. We're kicking in this door, we're kicking in the next door, we're going 3 houses over and kicking in that door. And then they just set up shop in the first house we kicked the door in. So that wasn't working. And like I said, spiritually, I'm started to think this us versus them is really just us versus us. We come from them, before policing, we were a part of them. I tell stories about that in my interactions with police from my own department and how I was treated. And then this whole us versus them indoctrination, when you go through the police training, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I drank the Kool-Aid too. And as I started to go through my career, I noticed some things, and I share that in other videos. But I think spiritually, there's no way you can be at peace actually believing in something more powerful than yourself and higher than yourself. And you get into policing and you see some of the things that are going on. There's no way you can have peace and continue to police as an officer and not address the unrest in your spirit. If you don't address it, it shows up in health problems and things like that. I would say that much. But yeah, let me share this picture with you. Sarai, I call her my granddaughter, she made this picture. This is Princess Peach. These are the clouds. These are the birds. She made an apple tree full of apples, you notice. And this is a butterfly. Oh, and this is the fire sun. I usually don't have this on the wall, but she made it, and I just wanted to give her a little shout out before I didn't want to forget. But Sarai, you're talented. You're really talented. But yeah, getting back to the spiritual aspect of it. Think about this. She created that from her imagination and some of the things that she's experienced, of course. But in her mind, this is a place of serenity and beauty and comfort. And she created that. And so what I wanted for me in my spirit was comfort and peace. I don't know if you understand what peace feels like and how it's worth everything, but that's what I wanted. I wanted peace in my spirit. And then when I started, like I said, I started to go through the second ostracism, the second whistleblowing, which resulted in ostracism and retaliation. The Holy Spirit said to me, you need to check your heart. Stop checking everybody else's heart. You need to check yours. And that was like, whoa. And so I started to do that. I started to take a look at how I was thinking about things. When I roll up on a corner and I see different individuals, what am I thinking about them? I share that in my book. It's almost done. It's done. It's on its way. I talk about just the personal thoughts I would have sitting in roll call. And it's a sergeant I don't care for. And I'm having these really evil thoughts like, I wish he'd fall and bust his head open right now. Why am I thinking thoughts like that? How am I, as a police officer, thinking this about another officer? You know, I'm just sharing that one just to give you an idea. When I go to restaurants and I see a group of white men just sitting there, nobody said anything to me, and I'm thinking, I can't stand your ass. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. But I share this in the book. So I started to address my heart condition and my heart issues, which spiritually is the groundwork for the foundation that I needed to have within my heart. So policing actually got me to address the foundation in my heart and what actually was in my heart. And so I want to share that little bit with you because it leads to my book. Next week, this time, I will have the finished version of my book and I will share it with you guys. But I just want to give that little bit to you. Policing, mentally, you feel tough. Spiritually is a different story, for me anyway, and some of the people I talk to. And you have to make those two, they have to connect. They have to connect. I put it to the side for such a long time that I thought I was doing great spiritually. And it was really excessive pride that was driving my motives and driving my motives to do things. And excessive pride, that's a false foundation. And I'll leave it right there and share a little bit more next week. But as always, and is our tradition, you don't necessarily have to go through a thing to learn from it. Take a look at our online store. The links are in the description. I made some notebooks. The links for those are in the description. Take you straight to them in Amazon. And comment, like, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to you later.